colors than it does when it dries. So the real test is what it looks like when it's actually dry. There's this same color watered down a little bit. And then I'm going to try something a little bluer. I'm going to try cobalt blue. I don't want it to be like jazzy bright. I want it to be a little subtler, but sort of maybe the shadier side of that color. Oh, that's nice. That's a nice color. Of course, I forgot to write these down, so let me write these down. This is cobalt teal plus water plus, what did I add? I added bismuth plus, what did I add? Oh yeah, opera rose plus water plus cobalt blue. Now, I know people really are chomping at the bit to get to painting, but I find having these little color maps very helpful because it allows me to do a little pre-thinking and have some sort of decisions already made before the painting gets started. I think too it allows you an extra sort of trying things out space when you have this page. You know, these notebooks are not very expensive, so I'm going to quote, waste a page on doing some experiments about color for this, for your painting. You know, it's nice to have, and then you actually have that in a bound notebook to turn back to at a later date and say, what did I use for that painting? What was that color? And here it is. It's all sort of mapped out for you. Yeah, you might have added things to it, and once you get to the painting and you sort of turn off your note-taking part of your brain and you just go for it, that's fine. But at least, you know, you'll have some sort of beginning understanding of, you know, where your mind was at the beginning of this process. So I think it's a good thing to do. A little sip of coffee. Okay, and so now I'm going to look at the lavender background, and it's a very softer color. It's not as bright. It's not as vivid. So I want to make sure that not everything is, you know, on fire. I want a quiet color in the background, so I'm going to clear out a little space for that. There we go. All right, and I'm going to just lay out a bunch of purples. I have a few on my palette, and I have a lot of blues and I have a lot of reds, so I can get a ton of purples out of this color palette. Some of them are just super special, and I just buy them and use them straight out of the tube. You don't always have to mix your color. So let's start with the most expensive and fussy color. It's cobalt violet. It doesn't cover very well. It's not a very heavily pigmented color, meaning you have to use a lot to turn a color, but boy is it a good color. And here we go. Look at that. It's like a candy color palette. So cobalt violet. That's one purple. And then another purple that I have is dioxine purple, which is very deep and very pigmented. You can get look how dark that is. You can get so dark with this. And I'm just going to add a little water and lighten it so you can see the many moods of this color. It's very blue. You can see that it's not as red as the cobalt violet, and it has huge staining or color potential, like to mix with other colors. But look how nice and like light and lovely it gets. Nice transparency. So this is also on your list. I forget how to spell it. This one gives me trouble. Okay, and so the other one is Quin Violet. I have a Quin Rose and I have a Quin Violet, and they're both really super yummy colors. This is, look at how, it's like almost like a rosy magenta. It's warmer than the Cobalt Violet, and I'm gonna water it down so you can see what it looks like a little thinner. It's very purpley and reddy at the same time. It's a much warmer purple than the Dioxine purple. And then you can make your own purples. So let's draw another line and let's mix some purples. Now, one of my favorite purples is mixed with manganese blue and opera rose. I love that color. It's really great for painting those pinky hydrangeas, pinky blue hydrangeas. So there's the manganese, and here's the opera rose. Opera rose gets a really good workout on my color palette. The nice thing about opera rose is it produces really clear pinks, which is super. Okay, so look at this color. It's sort of like the periwinkle. You can go more blue by adding more blue, right? And let's add, maybe it went a little too blue. Let's add some more opera rose. Opera rose is I love this color. Look at that. So it's sort of a bluer version of that deep purple, and you can make it warmer too by just adding more opera rose. You can make it more on the pink side, so let's do that. All right. Cool. And then you can wait and see what it looks like when it dries. A little more water. All right, so this is opera rose and manganese blue. Just different variations or amounts of each of the color, and then thinned down as well. Another good purple to make, let's see, what should I do next, is let's try cobalt blue. Is really nice. It has a nice sort of granular quality that settles out. Let's try cobalt blue and Quin red. Another grapier kind of color. You can see that's warmer. This is cooler. Maybe these are similar. Let's see what it looks like watered down. Okay, so that's a nice one too. But any blue or red that you mix on the color palette is going to produce some, a variety of purples. So this is cobalt and Quin red. Or is it Quin rose? No, that one's red. I also have a Quin red rose. Let's try French ultramarine and Quin rose, which is here. Again, a nice dark purple. French ultramarine is a really nicely pigmented color, deeply pigmented. Let's turn it a little more rose. So I find that when I'm painting flowers, especially pink or purple flowers, that there's so many varieties that they're almost iridescent. Like you'll see two colors in the same like area, and it's just like one slightly different shade. So that makes a nice mauve. Actually, that's a really nice mauve. So ultramarine, French ultramarine blue, and Quin rose. Okay, so all of these look great. I am looking at my fabric and I feel like the Dioxine purple is pretty close, like this tone, and maybe somewhere in between these two colors. All right, so I'm gonna put a little X next to them. And I write X background. So let's mix that cobalt. I think I have some cobalt and quin red here. And I'm going to mix a little yellow in. I'm going to mix a warm yellow because I want to mute it a little bit. I want it to gray it down a little bit. Ooh, just a little. Let's see, a little more. You know, when you add the opposite color, oh no, it should be more orange, right? Maybe a little more red. Let's sort of gray it down a little bit. A little more cadmium yellow. Okay, and a little more cadmium yellow. Okay, so that's really grayed that color down, but nicely. All right, so that's this plus cad yellow, medium. So I think that's pretty good. I'm looking at my color over there. I like how the pigment's sort of settling in this color. So yeah, so those are kind of all the colors of the week. I think that it would be really good for you guys to have this sort of set up for next week, and we'll choose our flowers and we'll follow the same process next week. And maybe if you want to, you can try you know, laying in one of these colors in the background and just getting it generally sort of sorted out what colors you want to use. You can try the warmer yellows here and the cooler yellows there, and just play with what you got, make some little notations, and there you go.